Welcome to Sportsify, everybody. I'm your host, Matt Novak. Alongside me, as always, Grant Hawker.
Always.
On the third mic is Jameson DeFore.
Yo.
And here with us again and again and again is my good buddy, Mike Connor.
I'm all colorful today. Let's get this done.
All colorful. He's got all
Look
the
at me.
colors of the rainbow ready
Well,
to go.
also, would you take the opportunity to make fun of you, Matt, because you didn't get the memo that we were supposed to wear blue hats today? So,
Oh,
Yeah, it was Blue Hat Day.
I don't rep your team, so I don't have a blue hat. I don't rep either of those teams. I don't
Matt
know.
feels bad. Matt feels bad.
I'm fine. I'm in my all black everything all the time. That's what I do. No, I know we're getting into the AFC West conversation. We're continuing the preview of every division. Jameson is breaking this one down. We're going to have some conversation. So kick it off, bro.
All right. So kind of same thing as last time that I did with the NFC or the AFC South, whichever one I had there. I'm going to go bottom up. Got a couple quick talking points, and then I'm going to throw it to one of you guys, and we'll go round robin, talk about what we're feeling. But the AFC West obviously is, you could argue, the cream of the crop of the NFL this year. A lot of buzz around there being 4 playoff teams potentially here. So I'm going to start bottom up. And the first team I'm going to talk about here, and I don't know if this is going to come as a surprise, but I'm talking about the Raiders here in 4th place. Last year, Raiders 4-13, 2-6 at home, 2-7 on the road. Obviously a much different team this year than they were last year, but this year their over-under is set at 6.5, which for a second I thought was surprising considering the moves that they made. I currently have them sitting as a 7-9 team, and that's just out of respect to the moves that they made.
7-10?
7-10. Sorry, I was working off old NFL math on my notes there. 7-10. I had them sitting right there. I did have a lot of back and forth between them and the team I have at 3rd place in here. But I think adding Pete Carroll, obviously that floor is just immediately raised. I think we were talking about a few episodes ago. He hasn't lost or won fewer than 7 games in a season basically since the 90s, wherever he's been coaching. So I think that's a good immediate floor. The offense, some pretty big improvements there, specifically bringing in Geno and drafting Genty. And obviously Brock Bowers is certainly a dude. I think he may emerge this year as the best tight end in football. Again, all due respect to a man over there in San Francisco.
Also in the Bay. Oh, no, not anymore. Never mind. They're not in Oakland.
Yeah, yep, not in the Bay. Not in the Bay.
Hey,
not in Oakland anymore.
Way to go.
Yeah, all due respect to George Kittle, but this might be a year where we see, I think, a change of the guard for who might wear that number 1 tight end crown. So I'm really loving what they're doing offensively here, and I do think that Geno is super underrated. That's also when we start talking about the Seahawks. I feel a certain way about the Seahawks because of that man not being behind the center there anymore. But ultimately, I look at that roster, and there's just still... it's lacking. We'll just say that. Like when we look at some of the other rosters here, especially not just in the AFC West, but just in the NFL in general, that defense, once you go past Max Crosby, again, we did this a few years ago. It's okay. Let's do the pop quiz. Like start rattling off Raiders defenders. And there are a few guys that might come to mind, but generally when I look at this stacked up against some of the other defenses, especially here in the AFC West, I think they're going to have some problems. But again, 7-10, I have them hitting the over that 6.5. And I think they could still have the potential to be that team that maybe we didn't recognize. Oh, hey, they're battling for maybe that last wild card spot here. But it's obviously going to be tough sledding in the AFC West. A lot of good defenses to go through, a lot of good teams to go through, just period. So I have them at 7-10. Mike, what are your feelings on the Raiders this year?
I think that they've improved, but I still think when you have a first-year coach, it's hard to improve 10 wins. You're not getting that 10 win you're not boosting up from 4 wins to 10 wins. Like the 6-game difference, I don't think.
Unless you're Dan Quinn.
Yeah, unless you get Jaden Daniels. Like that's really what it is. But you're looking back at Geno Smith's your quarterback who's serviceable. He's not like lighting any records on fire or anything. And but you have Ashton Genty, you're gonna grit some things out. I think this defense is better. It's still not a top defense, right? So you're looking at an improved roster, you're looking at an improved team. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with 6. I think 2-game improvement. 7's okay with me as well. But any more than that, I'm just like something has to happen in this AFC West for them to get more than that. Like a quarterback has to go down in Los Angeles for the Chargers or something for them to break that 7-win ceiling, I think. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. So I think you're right on with that. I think the new coaching staff does elevate this squad. Adding Ashton Genty elevates this squad. Adding Geno Smith is better than what they had last year. No questions asked about that. But all of that together is extra 3-game win. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Give it another year for the defense to really gel together.
Yeah, the defense definitely being my biggest red flag, obviously, with this team.
Yeah, for funsies, can somebody name a pass rusher on this team that isn't Max Crosby?
I can't go because I have their depth chart up, and I feel like that's cheating. So
It is.
anybody, but also, I don't know if I would have been able to if I did not have it open. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Pass rusher, no. I do know they brought in Devin White, so that's front 7. So like he's only, I think he's like 26. He's still fairly young. So I know that is an upgrade for them from what they
He
have.
will not be starting.
He won't be?
Neither will be Jamal Adams.
Well, I know Jamal Adams. Oh, I forgot. He's legit a linebacker now.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
legit
an actual
linebacker. Go through
linebacker.
that. No,
Well,
that
he's
was
been a
also my
linebacker
concern is
He's
taking
always been a linebacker.
another year for this defense to gel. They did draft or bring along, or they did draft 4 guys on the defensive side of the ball, but only one of them is listed on the depth chart in even the second slot, and that's cornerback Darian Porter. So they really didn't elevate, from the youthful standpoint, this defense. Jermaine Pratt, a linebacker, probably the best known name in that core that's going to start there. And their backups, name recognition wise, are definitely there. But again, with Devin White and Jamal Adams, but legitimately, it's a defense that didn't get as young as it probably needs to. Love what they did on the offensive side of the ball. Love it.
Yeah.
I think Geno's great. Deontay Thornton's great. That could be a legit number 1 for them.
Also,
that's what everybody's projecting on him right now. We all have the same opinion of Ashton Genty. I think for the most part, I had a high enough opinion to take him with my first pick in my draft last night. Been hiding that for quite a while. But yeah, I love a lot of the things they did over there. But man, yeah, that defense was the weakness already. And it didn't get a lot better.
They also,
from a personnel standpoint.
Also signed Amari Cooper on the 1-year deal, brought him back.
That's a great move for that room.
Yeah, at that point, he was probably the best available wide receiver that was still sitting around.
Yeah, I'm just justifying what Jameson's saying. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah,
I might be an 8-win guy, to be honest, because the coaching staff's that good.
I do think Pete Carroll elevates the defense. Right?
Well, yeah,
Pete Carroll-
he's
that was going to be my
Kelly.
point. That was going to be my point. Yeah.
He's a defensive coach. So like that defense will be improved. He's been known to get more stuff out of guys than you would expect.
Yep.
Yeah.
So absolutely. No, he's going to raise the level of play all around. Absolutely believe that. I've been an NFC West fan my whole life. I have had to endure many years of him coaching in the division. And then I was also a Pac-12 fan back in the day and had to deal with him beating the snot out of my Ducks with USC for several years. Also got to watch him get murdered on Halloween one year. It's glorious. But yeah, I totally get it. But I just think 8 wins is doable for them. I agree, though. They're probably not a winning record. But if you were to ask fans of this team, I think they'd be good with it right now, knowing that they're into that growth.
They're probably so much happier.
They'd love to double their win total for sure.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. I guess we'll move along. So 3rd place here in the AFC West.
This is maybe a little more interesting.
A little more interesting. So I don't know if this is going to be a cause for some controversy here. I have the Broncos here. I have the Broncos at 3rd place. And I battled with this for a while. This was probably like one of the closer placings that I had to deal with. Ultimately, possibly the number 1 defense in the NFL. So obviously right there, you're looking pretty good. Patrick Surtain, defensive player of the year last year. Very hard for a corner to do that. And I don't know, that defense is nasty. They only got a little bit better. Sean Payton as a head coach, obviously we know enough about him. I think I still, and again, I don't want to come across as a hater. I still have some question marks about what that offense can look like now that you have tape. And not that Sean Payton can't overcome a lot of those things. Again, it goes back to us talking about the Vikings, and we have JJ here. And what's that going to look like at quarterback? Ultimately, you just have the coach controlling the quarterback, and that's all you need. And we have a similar thing here in Denver, in my opinion, with Bo Nix. I've made a ton of jokes ad nauseum about super duper senior Bo Nix and that whole thing coming into the league and basically looking to retire soon. But ultimately, I do think he is a bit of a system quarterback who I think overplayed any expectations that I would have had. And I think a lot of people would have had in his first year in the NFL last year. Throwing for 29 touchdowns as a rookie is a pretty good feat. And I was super impressed, and I don't want to take it away from them, but I do think that there is something to be said about, one, there being a lot of buzz about the Broncos this year just in general. And I think when you have that, there are now expectations that you didn't have last year that you have to come now and actually fill those expectations. And again, just another year of tape. We talked about it with CJ Stroud when it happened. We're talking about maybe that happening with Jaden Daniels this year. Who's to say that something like that doesn't also now happen with Bo Nix and Denver? So that's really my biggest concern, is when you have these expectations, are you going to crumble under those expectations, or are you going to rise above those expectations? Their over-under this year is 9.5 wins. Last year they were 10-7. They were 6-2 at home. Obviously in Mile High, you got a pretty good home field advantage, so you're feeling really good about that. And looking at their schedule, they got some games at home that you definitely want to have, but still being in the AFC West, gonna have probably a hard time winning some of those games against the other two teams I have here, even though they'll play them close. I have them at 9-8. I don't know if that's controversial, but I just think a slight regression from last year. On the road, you were 4-5. Don't love that, but I think you get a little bit better. That's your hope. I think you control home field advantage. You clean things up on the road with a second-year quarterback, but I'm leaning on the other side where there's going to be a little bit of a regression here. I think they can still potentially fight for that last wild card spot, but there's a lot of things going on. I have them at 9-8. Matt, what do you think about the Broncos this year?
I don't know how you have the number one defense in the league and are in third place in your division with that offense and that coach. That would be my argument against that. Is I don't know how you're regressing when your roster upgraded overall. I think Harvey's going to be an upgrade at running back over Javon Williams.
Yeah.
I do believe that. I like the moves they have made and the investment they've made in Cortland Sutton. I love that they held on to him when they had a lot of trade offers last year. A lot. There was a ton of interest in him. Word was a second and a fourth right around trade time last year. But I think you highlighted well that this defense is legit. If you're looking in fantasy, not that comes into real life here, but if you're looking in fantasy, this is usually number 1 or 2 off the board. And we expect them to score a lot of points. We expect them to get a lot of turnovers. That's how you win games in the NFL. So I personally don't see any kind of regression. I think that's taking a win away from them rather than a rookie quarterback improving. I know what it means to be a second-year quarterback in the NFL. There's tape on you. We talked about it with Jaden Daniels in our other preview. We understand the sophomore slump is real for a lot of quarterbacks, but I think the guys that we see it not happen with are the guys who have coaches who have been in this league for a long time. We've talked about this in every preview that we have done. Coaching is so important. It absolutely is. And when you have mainstay coaches that have been there a while, they can take these quarterbacks that shine. 29 touchdowns, as you point out, not a small feat. Aaron Rodgers had 30 last year, and we were shocked at that. But if you were to go through like Matthew Stafford's career, how many years did he not hit over 29 touchdowns with the Lions, and obviously in some injury seasons, things like that? But like, how many times did he not get 30 touchdowns? That's a great number for Bo. And also, Bo beats you not 2 ways. The arm talent is certainly good enough. The accuracy is definitely there. The arm talent's good enough. I know he's not throwing the fade better than Joe Burrow or anything, but like legitimately his accuracy is there over the middle where it counts. And then he beats you with his legs, man. He has that almost Josh Allen body. He's a little slimmer than him, but Josh Allen used to be slimmer too. We know how that goes. Pack it on the closer you get to 30. And the more you want to endure the NFL, you got to be a little bigger. So he'll get there. But bro, for me, I have a hard time saying that 11 is doable because of the division. I hear you on that 100%. But I actually like him to stay at 10. And I think that this team is going to probably sneak into that last playoff spot. I like them there in that 7. I don't know that every team in this division, I don't think every team in this division is going to make the playoffs, but I liked teasing the thought that it was in other earlier previews. So I think the 3 teams are made in the playoffs here. I think this one and the other 2 that we're about to talk about. So a lot to like here. Bo Nix is great. Cortland Sutton's great. Coaching staff is great. New running back's great. That defense is electric and terrifying, and no one wants to play them in Denver, especially in December, and definitely not in January. They get a little higher. They could get a win in that wild card round if somebody's got to travel out to Denver, if they were able to somehow snag the 2 seed in this division.
Yeah, don't hate that. And also, I didn't mention it. Evan Ingram, I think, also a pretty solid signing there. I think that's going to be pretty well utilized in that offense, especially for Bo Nix and what he can do.
You needed another target.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up that this defense Normally you have a number one defense and it gets picked apart in free agency or
That's
whatnot.
fair. Yep.
They actually added. They bring in Talanoa Hufanga. They bring in Dre Greenlaw to be their inside linebacker. When healthy, is really good linebacker. And yeah, I'm going to cry a little bit because he turned down the Niners. But I was going to bring up Ingram. You brought that up for me. But I also want to bring up J.K. Dobbins. Look what he did with the Chargers last year. He's moving right into Denver. And yeah, I like R.J. Harvey, the young guy, but I think Dobbins is going to really contribute out of the vacuum field. And he's going to be that Reggie Bush kick that we're talking about the coaching staff and how he used to run his team with Sean Payton. But J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, that 1-2 punch, that's what he likes to do. He likes to have that 1-2 punch. You bring up Evan Ingram. Sean Payton loves a good, tall, pass-catching tight end. He's got that now. Troy Franklin looked great in coming out in his second year. Like, he's advanced this year. So you're looking at these things and you're just like, okay, this team's just gotten better. They've got older. They've got another year under the belt for all these skill positions that need that extra year. I'm going to push back with you and say 9 wins seems soft. I don't see them regressing. I just don't see a roster getting better, a second year with the coach, all these skill positions that they brought in getting worse. I think 10 is a healthy floor, but I could see 11, maybe 12, but it's really hard in this division. I could see this whole division just beating the crud out of each other, splitting it all out. And
that's
all these
kind of how I ended up. Where all
these teams ended up at 10, 11.
And I couldn't take I couldn't take all of these teams, which, spoiler alert, I couldn't take all of these teams hitting their over realistically. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I think all things considered. And plus, again, for me, when there are every narrative right now is pointing towards Broncos. And sometimes that gives me a little pause because every now and then we are like, okay, yeah, this is the next thing. And sometimes there is one team that has the capability of doing it, but is maybe a year away from actually doing that thing. And so, again, I don't want to fade the Broncos too hard, but if there was one team here that I felt like could, and that's, again, all respect to Bo Nix, I think the other quarterbacks in this division, whether it's experience or whether it's just talent, which in the Raiders, it's more of an experience thing, not so much a talent thing, I can trust them a little bit more in the regular season. Head coaching-wise, obviously fantastic, but I just think that there's a little room there for a regression. I would not be surprised at all if they do win 11 games. Let's just say that. But if there was one team when I wanted to fade a little bit, go against the grain, I figured it would be the Broncos.
So you choose the devil in a Geno over Bo going into year 2.
Yeah, to me, I think like the improvements that the Raiders can make to still be a below 500 team brings them up a little bit more, where when you're fighting in that middle area, not that the changes to the Broncos aren't marginal, I just think it's one of those things where I don't want to overblow it or undersell it. Maybe I'm underselling it a little bit, but when that over under is 9.5, sometime the under has to hit. So that's where I'm going. Grant, what do you think?
Jameson, I'm kind of with you. I'm with you. I feel like maybe a 9 and 8 is reasonable, mainly because I have something that I want to say about what I'm guessing is your next team, because I'm higher on a certain team taking another step, which we should see, which we have seen with a certain head coach in a year 2.
That's true.
That I am believing in more and more optimistic in. So that's where I go. I actually think the Broncos are probably going to be the same in terms of skill. If you look at offense, defense, those kinds of things. But I think the team above them is going to take another step, a natural step, finally, with some competent coaching that I am more high on, which I think will, because they're in the same division, bring the Broncos down a game. And it has nothing to do with the Broncos and everything to do with the other team. So,
yeah, which we'll just move right into second place here. Probably not a surprise knowing who else is remaining here, but I have the Chargers in second place. Last year, the Chargers went 11-6. This year, their over-under was 9.5. I also have them going 11-6 again. Really, for me, the big thing was, for speaking just strictly regular season, we know what we have in Justin Herbert. I would still like to see more. I don't think he's quite gotten to the point where I would have expected him to by now, as far as hitting that next level of, you've got your Mahomes, your Lamars, your Burrows, your Josh Allens. A lot of people have him sitting in that 5th and 6th spot, but I feel like he's still knocking on the door, waiting to really hit that next level. And a lot of that ultimately is tied to postseason success or the lack thereof. But he's a guy who is not going to turn over the ball. He's going to make smart decisions. He's got the build. He's got all of the arm talent in the world. And pretty beastly offensive line getting plugged in there. The defense isn't quite up to the Broncos. I'll give them that. But under Harbaugh, a very solid defense. You bring in Omari and Hampton. I really like that get for them. I think that's going to pay dividends in the long run. My big thing, we talked about this in the offseason quite a bit, that I was ultimately frustrated with, but I still had them sitting here at 11-6. That's why I couldn't really bump them up to a 12-win team, is you have Ladd McConkey, but I'm still not in love with that wide receiver room. And I think that really irritates me, because you do have a guy like Justin Herbert who can put the ball anywhere on the field at any time. And it just feels like the investment isn't quite there. I would love to see something with maybe a free agent acquisition if they're trying to make a push here later in the season, try to make something happen, because Ladd McConkey, obviously a dude, but he can only do so much at his size and stature. Keenan Allen, fun coming back. I think he's still going to have a pretty decent year. I think he's got some left in the tank, but he's not who he was before he left the Chargers. And Quentin Johnson, come on. What are we doing here? That guy's got stone
That
hands.
dude has bricks for hands.
Yeah,
he is horrible.
That ultimately is like my biggest thing. Like, I'm not in love with your wide receiver room, and one of your starting wide receivers is known to have bricks for hands. So I don't love that, but I think all things considered, they maintain where they were at. Again, having a coach in there, Harbaugh, is a floor raiser. It's a second year with the team. He's building the team the way that he wants to build this team. And I think they're going to play like it. And even if they maybe don't take that next step in the postseason, which is my expectation for them, is to finally take that next step, and Justin Herbert finally puts together something in the postseason that's worth talking about, even if that's just getting past the wild card round or something like that. I just think all of those things built into it puts them just a bump above the Broncos. So whether it's 1 or 2 wins above the Broncos, that's my reasoning behind it. Grant, I'll throw it to you because I know you were kind of on the same page there. What are you thinking about the Chargers?
Yeah, I think that a second year for head coach is a big deal. I know you can argue that Sean Payton last year was like his second year, even though it was his this year is his. You could argue this year is his second year because that first year with Russ, you throw that out the window a little bit. But to me, Jim Harbaugh in his second year at Michigan elevated the team, and they actually really, even in that first year, went 10-3. That second year at Michigan, they also went 10-3. Had back-to-back Citrus Bowl appearances. There, won one, lost one. But then also in his NFL career, second year with the Niners, took them to the Super Bowl. They lost it, the Harbaugh Bowl, all that stuff. But nonetheless, like, you see that second year mean something to a Harbaugh-led team. And I think, too, with the second year, you're not installing new things. You're installing new players into a system that's already there. You're not trying to teach 53 players something. You're teaching half a dozen. I think that's a big deal. I think people are settled into their roles more, which I think is a big deal for someone like Ladd McConkey. We know who he is. We know who Keenan Allen is, what he can produce. It's familiar for him with the quarterback. So I think this is a year where we finally bang the table. Maybe we see finally that Justin Herbert get those playoff win or two, something like that. Again, with a loaded AFC, it's kind of like this Charles Barkley kind of thing where it's, dude, like, he's a good quarterback, but being kept out of the party by some other just best of all time talent type of quarterbacks. But I think the second year for Harbaugh is going to be huge. The system's there, the lingo's there, the culture's there, and you're not trying to undo and set something fresh. You are building upon something already there, kind of like what you said, James. And so, yeah.
Herbert's 27 years old going into the season this time. This is when, if you're going to hit that step, you are now, this is prime right now. Yeah. Prime time right now. He was a bit ahead of schedule. This is where it has to happen.
Yeah, and I think, too, like, as much as, I agree with you on the wide receiver thing, absolutely. Something we called in our AFC East prediction was like, man, like, the Chargers should trade for Tyreek Hill if he's available or something like that. Absolutely, they should. But also, this receiver room is still improved because of adding Keenan Allen, because he does raise the ceiling. And so
I hate Tyler Conklin coming in as a backup tight end.
I don't hate that.
I like the draft pick of Trey Harris.
Yeah,
that's a good pick up for them. Look at him rotating in later as they go through the season as a wide receiver.
Yeah. So like this, as much as this room is still lacking, it's still better than last year. And so I like some of those moves. Again, Hampton's going to be their guy. Like, Harbaugh's got his guy to just carry the torch. Yeah, I'm high on the Chargers this year, higher than I am a team like the Broncos, just because I trust what I see more and the experience leaning on that more.
Just to push I was going to push towards the schedule real quick and just say, I have them 7-4 outside of division. I'm 7-4. So really, it's going to, for me, going to determine their outcome is going to be determined in those division games. Can they exceed 3-3? And the reason I have them losing the four I have them, I won't go through all of it, but just say the four that I have them losing. I have them losing to the Eagles. I have them losing to the Vikings, the Commanders, and I had to take a hard look at it, honestly, but I think the other potential one, and I'm just saying it by maybe 2 points, I'm not super nice to them, is the Steelers. That could be a win. That's going to be a primetime game. And that has been a little bit of a struggle for Justin, as much as I love him, and I really super do. But that has been a little bit of a struggle. So I got to pick one other one there, really, I felt like I needed to. But 7-4 is where I got them. So what are they in the division? What are they? Can they be better than split? Can they go 4-2? Can they get the Raiders twice? That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
I think you're
going to have to do that
twice.
I think you're going to have to do that because tomorrow for us is kickoff. That's fantastic. Yep. It's like Christmas Eve for me here. But the Friday game in Brazil is against the Chiefs. Yeah. Don't love that. That's supposed to be a home game for them too. So it's a not home against the Chiefs.
You lose the home game. Yeah.
Yeah. So that part does put them behind the 8 ball a little bit in that respect. But
what I want to say is the Chiefs have been gettable in September.
Yeah. They have not had hot starts. That's fair.
So like if they grab that one and then they play them, when else do they play them?
They play them late.
They do start off the season basically playing their division. They go Chiefs, then they go at Raiders, and then they're home for Broncos. So you have to win that home game against the Broncos because you don't really want to like the chances of you beating the Broncos in Denver. When do they play? Let's see here. Yeah, January 4th, January last game of the regular season, which by the way could come down to that could be it for that last spot or that second place spot, whatever it's going to be. Chargers, Broncos, might want to book that one. That's
TBD on purpose.
Folks. Yeah, TBD on purpose. You're going to flex that one. Mike, what do you have for us here with the
the only thing I wanted to bring up is we came into the season after the draft and everybody's doing their preseason rankings and whatnot. Everyone had this offensive line rated as like one of, if not the best offensive line in football. And then Slater goes down for the year. Their starting tackle, Rashawn Slater, who is amazing at his job and is going to take over for left tackle whenever Joe Alt decides to hang it up. So we all know this. And they bring in some guy named Trey Pipkins that I've never heard of before. And so that is a major hit. I think that offensive line, being able to run off that right side, you have to bring some guys over to help out with this guy. So I understand what you're saying. And I think I agree with you but I think they could be that 10-11 win. Same thing as before. I think they drop 2 to the Chiefs. They struggle with the Chiefs. They lead the Chiefs and then give up a bunch of points in the fourth quarter, and Patrick Mahomes find ways to beat the Chargers. It's just the way it's been the last couple of years. And beat the Raiders twice, lose the Chiefs twice, split with the Broncos. I think it's still 3-3. I think that 10-11 win is right where they're at. So I agree with you.
All right. Any other notes on the Chargers before we talk about first place in this division?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that this team is probably going to win this division again.
Yeah, spoiler alert. First place in the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning AFC champions year after year, finally dropped it in the Super Bowl, going for the three-peat last year in pretty embarrassing fashion, but can't say you really blame them a whole lot considering they've been playing 22 games a season for the past however many seasons now at this point, finally caught up to them. Last year still went 15-2. The big note for me, 8-0 at home. And not all those wins were pretty by any means.
Probably voodoo magic, bro, for some of those wins. Like they were sacrificing goats or something.
Yeah, here, like the thing with them is ultimately their over-under this year is 11.5. I still had them as a 13-win team. I feel like for now that they might be closer to a 12-win team, especially with Rasheed missing the first 6 weeks with that suspension. Until I don't see it, like I can't say anything. Like I learned enough from watching Tom Brady and being like, it's Tom Brady, whatever, he's done, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, it keeps going and it keeps going until I see otherwise. I'm always going to pick the Chiefs to be around here. And I do think that they are a little improved from last year, even though I don't think they can hit that 15-2 mark again, all things considered, especially with some of the improvements of the other teams here in the AFC West. They'll probably, that's actually kind of hard to say because what Patrick Mahomes' record against the AFC West is like 27-5 or something
He
like
loses
that all
like
time.
one a season, one of those a season. That's it.
Which again, like all of those things get built into, I'm just going to flush the Chiefs through every year because they have arguably the hardest division in football and also will just win it every time, and everything goes through them in the AFC. So I have them at 13-4. Basically, my notes here being they're the Chiefs, but in reality, when we're looking at the Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco is going to be healthy to start the year. I think sometimes we look back and forget that Isaiah Pacheco went down in week 2, and then they brought Kareem Hunt off the streets, and they still ended up going 15-2 in the regular season. Again, some voodoo magic, definitely. Rashee Rice going down, Travis Kelce having, by any metric, his worst season as a tight end in the league. You're bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, who is also not a guy anymore, unfortunately. So you have all these things happening, and you still go 15-2. While that is not where I have them this year, I think that defense is still going to be nasty. Yeah. Spags, again, until further notice, Spags is going to get the benefit of the doubt. Until further notice, Andy Reid is going to get the benefit of the doubt. Good special teams. Harrison Butker might not be the best kicker in the NFL, but with Tucker out of the picture, he might be now. He's getting a little bit older. Yeah, he might not be number 1, but he's top 3, and that means something when you are probably going to be getting some of these wins by a field goal. And so all things considered,
last year.
Exactly. So all things considered, I still have them hitting the over. I still have them sitting here at 13-4. 12-5 might be a little bit more comfortable because at this point you've gone to 3 Super Bowls in a row, and that does catch up to you. But I think they're a little bit healthier, and I can guarantee you this. Patrick Mahomes has heard a lot of the noise going on in the offseason that he's not the guy that he was anymore. Look at his numbers. Look at the Chiefs. Look what happened in the Super Bowl. You didn't win MVP. You were like barely top 5 in MVP voting. He's a guy who is online and is seeing these things. And if there is one guy that I do not want to see with a chip on his shoulder, it is Patrick Mahomes. So again, until further notice, it's the Chiefs. I have him at 13-4. Mike, what do you got for the Chiefs?
They think the Chiefs won 11 one-score games last year. Most of those 11 one-score games they won in the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter. I don't see them doing 11. I see them doing about 9. I have them at that 11 win, same as the other 2 in this division. I do have them take the division. I think you're right on with that. I think they're going to have the tiebreakers in division, but I think outside of division with their schedule, number 1 schedule again, I think they drop a couple that they didn't drop last year. Just in those last couple minutes of the game, they're not going to get that coin flip thing that they got all last year. Now, 12 wins, I could see. I just think 11's, man, that is so hard. Dropping a couple of those extra games. That's just the way I see it. I think this team's phenomenal. I think somehow Patrick Mahomes is so good that we're looking at this as Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster starting, and we're not even phased. That's your starting wide receiver core for this team right now.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And you're just like, Patrick Mahomes is just that good. Andy Reid is just that good. Like you said, they brought Kareem Hunt off the street, and he came out looking like all pro for many of those games. And you're just like, where'd this guy? He couldn't even make the Giants or whatever it was. Like, and then suddenly he's on the Chiefs and looking like a pro. And you're just, it is what it is. I hate to hear it. I hate to see it. Travis Kelce's getting married. Woohoo! It's a big PR stunt.
This is probably the last season of Travis Kelce. I would bet a lot of money on that. I think this is
I don't disagree with you. I think he's going to get 1,000 yards.
Married and score 10 right off into the sunset.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's the thing. Talking about that, but
they just produce. They just produce and they just win. And so I think they win the division. I think you're spot on. Yeah, I give them a couple games less than you, but I will
say this before I throw it to you, Matt, to your point about them winning those 11 one-score games. Does anybody want to guess Patrick Mahomes' record when he's down by 10 points in a game?
Is he undefeated?
No. He is 12-0.
Yeah.
So again, I don't disagree that a lot of those coin flips could possibly go the other way and likely will. But it's one of those things where until I see the boogeyman not come through, like he's the guy, he might not be and I wouldn't agree with this, but some people might say Josh Allen's the guy I want for a whole season, or Lamar's the guy I want for a whole season. But with like life on the line and there's 2 minutes left in a game, there's not another quarterback, probably aside from Tom Brady, that I would want, maybe in the history, or at least recent history for sure, than Patrick Mahomes.
And guys,
So-
here's the other thing. They got bullied in a Super Bowl, like absolutely bullied, and then went to 3 in a row. Like, I'm sorry, he's been in this exact situation before and then answered it. So all these people that are like, he's trash, he's washed, you're just getting caught up in the moment. You are getting caught up in media narratives. He's the greatest quarterback that we've seen since Brady. So shut up. We're gonna see him in at least 3 more, like at least minimum. I guarantee it. Like when all of these guys have retired, Travis Kelce's gone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we sat here and said this last year. He is the greatest quarterback of moments. I said that exact line before. I stand by it now. It sucks. I don't want to see the Chiefs win. In reality, this team was 15-1 last year, by the way. 15-1.
Yeah, they didn't play. Yeah,
and they lost by
everybody
6 points to the Bills on the road. That's their one loss because they didn't play anybody against the Broncos in that basically.
And that
just
also
took
was a
2
last minute. Within 2 minutes, Josh Allen ran it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Barely
he
lost.
Played Superman ball, and it really did come down to last possession, like genuinely.
Yep. And then got his comeuppance in the playoffs.
Yep. And so if you're sitting here, man, the Chiefs didn't really do a lot. The Chiefs didn't have to do a lot, you freaking morons. They've been winning Super Bowls every other freaking year. They don't have to do it. It's reload season for them. It's, hey, you know what? I'm going to go down to Mexico. I'm going to take a couple months off and work on my tan, and then I'm going to come back and beat the crud out of you because I have the best coach in the NFL right now. I have the best quarterback in the NFL maybe ever by the time he retires. I have no problem saying that out loud. And those of you that are like, you can't really do the comparison, Tom Brady, blah, blah, blah. As a 49er fan, Joe is not as good as Patrick Mahomes. It's a 1, 2, 3 scenario there for me, and there's some more debates to happen later on. Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback of all time, and he's that good. And guess how old he is, everybody?
Not even 30.
He's not 30.
He will turn 30
in his
on
30s.
the 17th. However,
he'll turn 30 like in 2 weeks.
Splitting hairs, but still.
I understand. I'm just saying,
years,
like,
quarterback
Mike,
years,
I respectfully disagree. This team's going to be 15-2, bro. Because last year they were technically 15-2 and took a week off just for funsies because they could. No, this team's going to roll people because they have the best quarterback in the league. They're going to roll people, and they're going to continue to do what they did. Yeah, Isaiah Likely's probably not going to step on that line twice. That catch isn't getting made downfield in week 16 or whatever that was. I get it. Like, I get that's not going to happen, but something else is, because when you're that good, it just keeps happening.
And
it's
they
not
get to
an
play
accident.
The AFC South this year, so that's pretty good.
That's 4 wins. 4 wins right there.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, take it for what it is. I'm a hater all day, but you are watching greatness. You are 100% watching greatness, and we are all witnesses, not to be a LeBron quoter here, but genuinely, we are witnessing history. I said the same thing when I watched Tom Brady take down the Falcons in the 24-3 Super Bowl. Like
28-3.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I always get the score wrong. That's the thing I do. But legitimately, like, I just sat there and told everybody, shut up and watch it. When you turn on your TV on Friday and you watch this team play, just shut up and watch it. Because that's what's going to happen is they're just going to decimate everybody. That's what they do. They're going to win games in the fourth quarter and take your soul and show it to you and then crush it. That's what they do.
And
yeah, if you think that the Chiefs are going to go out week 1 and lose to the Chargers, I don't care. That game could be played in my backyard. Yeah,
I hope so. I want to be wrong. Make me wrong. Please, for the love of God, let them be 6-11. I would be so happy, but I'm not wrong, and it sucks.
It's more likely that they win the Super Bowl than they go 6-11.
And guys, the sooner on that you just accept it, I honestly think it's a little easier to stomach. Like,
it just gets a little easier.
It is.
I spent so much time hating the Golden State Warriors, and eventually when I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to appreciate Steph Curry and his greatness. I was like, man, this is pretty awesome to enjoy.
Yeah, and then be really excited when you get to see him lose.
Like I'm telling you, when I saw Tom Brady stand on the sideline and jump up and down in circles when Malcolm Butler got interception at the 3 seconds left, and I was so mad at Brady, but here I am in his 7th Super Bowl rooting for Brady because I wanted to see a 7th because I thought that was just so insane. Just watch the greatness. It's better that way.
Enjoy it while it's here because you never know. Like, you never know what it's going to be. My whole life watching football, I am genuinely, I would say, a solid 30-plus year fan watching the NFL and being tuned in every single week. And I've seen 2 guys in my whole life that played quarterback that were really worth just watching every week because you were certain that they were going to do something amazing. I grew up watching Tiger play golf. And every Sunday afternoon, I wasn't that good at golf. And I'm a mediocre fan right now. But I wanted to watch that guy come down wearing red on Sunday and see what he was going to do on 16, 17, and 18. I want to see what the Chiefs are going to do in week 16, 17, and 18. I want to know I want to watch the greatness and enjoy great football.
Yeah. And my last point here. Yeah. My last point here too. We all fall victim to it at points. I will admit this, but there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be box score watchers of the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes this year. And they're going to say, look at his numbers and then compare him to Lamar, Burrow, Josh Allen. And to that, I tell you, we watch the games around here. And that's all I got to say about that. You watch the games, you involved, and I'm sorry.
And go ahead and flood the comment section.
They went 15-2 last year, and he had the most pedestrian numbers of his career. So
go flood the comment section with your ref comments. We hate it too.
And all those quarterbacks you just named, Jameson, they would swap to have Mahomes.
Oh yeah, guess what? By the way, all those guys have not gotten past him. Joe Burrow,
those are the guys he's taking down.
And Lamar would trade his MVPs for those Super Bowls, 100%.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate goal. Nothing else matters.
No. My only question here with them now is this like mid-90s Cowboys watch where you go back to back and then you lose and then you come back that 4th year and then you win 3 out of 4 years. That's
please let this be the Cowboys, like where they don't win anything for 30 years. Is that what we're talking about?
No, I mean they go back to back, they lose, and then they come back again. That type of thing. That's all I'm looking for.
Don't
is this the rebound?
I'll edit this out. So it's not out there.
I'm just saying we haven't made our Super Bowl picks, I don't believe, but I'm just putting that out there. But
then
that is
the
AFC West.
That is the AFC West. We felt like maybe a lot of these things were going to land right in here. Some definite disagreement on win totals between this crew, but we do, I think, have the same top 3. We definitely have the same 1 and 4, 2 and 3 is where it gets a little dicey. This division is going to win a lot of games. It's not going to surprise anybody on this podcast if all of those teams are in double digits. If all of those teams beat the crud out of some people this year and win some big games and big moments, it's going to be a great division to watch. And we're pumped for the AFC West. We did this one late because we were looking forward to it. Continue to watch these previews and catch your favorite team in one of these episodes. We'll be coming back with another episode here. We're going to record our NFC West one in just a little bit. We're pumped to get to it. So continue to join us on all of our previews and enjoy day 1 of the NFL season coming up. For us, it's tomorrow. So let's go.